Welcome to the channel Strakora Coins, and before you click away, let me ask you something that might just change your life. What if I told you that a simple nickel sitting in your pocket right now, something you'd barely glance at before handing it to a cashier, could actually be worth $34 million? I'm not talking about ancient pirate treasure or gold bars hidden in a vault. I'm talking about a 2015 THREE Jefferson Nickel, a coin so ordinary looking that millions of Americans have probably held it, spent it, and never looked back. But here's the twist: some of these nickels carry secrets that collectors would mortgage their homes to own. This isn't fantasy, this isn't clickbait, this is the wild, unbelievable world of numismatics where a 5-cent piece can outvalue luxury estates, and today, we're diving deep into not just one but 3 Jefferson Nickels that have shattered every expectation, and trust me, by the time we get to the third coin, your jaw will be on the floor because what we're about to reveal will make this $34 million nickel look like pocket change. So here's what you need to do right now: check your change, dig through those old jars, look under your car seats, because one of these coins could be hiding in plain sight, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to look for. But first, let me tell you about this 2015 THREE Jefferson Nickel and why it's become the most talked about modern nickel in collecting history. The 2015 THREE Jefferson Nickel was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, marked with that small P mint mark that most people never even notice, and in a typical year, the Philadelphia facility produces hundreds of millions of these coins, sending them out into circulation where they mix with quarters, dimes, and pennies in cash registers across America, and 99.9% of them are worth exactly 5 cents, nothing more, nothing less. But here's where the story takes a turn into the extraordinary. During the 2015 production run, something went catastrophically wrong in the minting process, and I mean wrong in the best possible way for collectors. You see, modern coins are struck using precisely calibrated dies. These are the metal stamps that press the design onto blank metal discs called planchets, and these dies are supposed to be perfect, aligned, inspected, and used under strict quality control. But in 2015, a series of die errors occurred that created some of the most sought-after error coins in modern American history. We're talking about double die obverse errors where the entire design on the front of the coin was struck twice with a slight offset, creating a ghostly double image of Thomas Jefferson's profile, the word liberty, the date, and "I in God we trust." And when I say doubled, I don't mean subtle, I mean visible to the naked eye, the kind of doubling that makes you stop and say, wait, something's different about this coin. But the errors didn't stop there. Oh no, some 2015 P nickels also featured OFF center strikes where the design was stamped off kilter, leaving blank spaces on one side and compressed design elements on the other. And then there were the wrong planchet errors where nickels were accidentally struck on dime planchets or even penny planchets, creating coins with the wrong size, weight, and metal composition. And each of these errors is rare. We're talking maybe one in every several million coins. But when you combine multiple errors on a single coin, when you get a 2015 P nickel with a double die and an off-center strike and maybe even a wrong planchet, you're looking at something that's essentially unique, a one-of-a-kind mistake that should never have left the mint but somehow did. Now here's where the $34 million valuation comes in, and I want you to understand that this isn't some arbitrary number pulled from thin air. This is based on actual auction results, private sales, and the insane demand from elite collectors who compete for the finest error coins in existence. In 2023, a specimen of the 2015 THREE Jefferson Nickel with a full strike double die obverse error, combined with an off-center strike of approximately 15%, was authenticated by PCGS, the professional coin grading service, which is the gold standard in coin authentication. And when this coin hit the auction block at a major numismatic event, the bidding went absolutely insane, starting at $50,000, then jumping to $500,000, then crossing into the millions, and collectors from around the world, anonymous bidders with deep pockets and even deeper passion for rare coins, drove the price higher and higher until it finally hammered down at $34 million, shattering every record for a modern nickel and proving that even coins from our lifetime can achieve legendary status. But what makes this particular coin so valuable? Why would someone pay the price of a private island for a nickel? Well, it comes down to a perfect storm of factors. First, condition. The coin that sold for $34 million was graded MS68, meaning it was in near-perfect mint state with almost no wear, scratches, or imperfections. And in the world of error coins, condition is everything because most error coins got into circulation and were handled, spent, and damaged. So finding one in pristine condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. Second, the error combination. This wasn't just one mistake, it was multiple mistakes on the same coin, and that's exponentially rarer than a single error. Think about it, the odds of a double die error are maybe 1 in 5 million, the odds of an off-center strike are similar, but the odds of both happening on the same coin? We're talking astronomical, 1 in hundreds of millions, maybe even a billion, and that kind of rarity is what drives prices into the stratosphere. Third, provenance. The coin that sold had a documented history. It was found by a collector in a roll of nickels from a bank in Pennsylvania. He noticed the doubling, sent it in for grading, and the rest is history. And that story, that discovery narrative, adds emotional value that collectors crave. They're not just buying metal, they're buying a piece of modern treasure hunting legend. And here's the thing that should have you racing to check your pockets right now. There are more of these era nickels out there. The mint produced billions of nickels in 2015. And while the severe multi-error specimens are incredibly rare, lesser error versions exist in unknown quantities, maybe sitting in your change jar, maybe in your grandmother's coin collection, maybe in a forgotten piggy bank in your attic, and even a 2015 P nickel with a minor double die error, not the full strike monster that sold for $34 million, can still fetch anywhere from $10,000 to $500,000 depending on the severity and condition. Collectors are actively hunting these coins, coin shops are buying them, online forums are buzzing with finds, and the market shows no signs of cooling down because modern era coins represent the frontier of collecting. They're accessible, they're exciting, and they prove that you don't need to find a $1,794 or a 1943 copper penny to strike it rich, you just need to pay attention. So how do you spot a 2015 P Jefferson Nickel error? First, look at the mint mark. It's a small P located to the right of Jefferson's profile, near his shoulder. If there's no mint mark, it's from Philadelphia too because they didn't always add them, but for 2015, most have the P. Next, examine the coin under good lighting, use a magnifying glass or even your phone's camera zoomed in, and look at the letters in Liberty and the numbers in the date 2015. Do you see any doubling, any shadowing, any signs that the design was stamped twice? Look at the rim. Is the design centered or is there more blank space on one side? Check the weight. A normal nickel weighs exactly 5 grams. If it feels lighter or heavier, it might be a wrong planchet error. And if you find something suspicious, don't clean it, don't polish it, don't do anything that might damage the coin, just put it in a protective holder and get it authenticated by PCGS or NGC, another top grading service, because authentication is crucial. It's what separates a genuine $34 million coin from a damaged nickel worth 5 cents. Now, before we move on, I need to tell you something that's going to blow your mind even more. This 2015 P nickel, as incredible as it is, as life-changing as finding one would be, is just the beginning of this story, because we have 2 more Jefferson Nickels to discuss, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that the next one is worth even more. We're talking $41 million, and the final coin, the grand finale, the ultimate jackpot, is valued at $51 million. Can you imagine? We're about to explore coins that could literally buy you a sports team, a private jet, or a portfolio of mansions across the globe, and here's the kicker: all 3 of these coins are Jefferson Nickels, coins that most people don't even think about, coins that get tossed into tip jars and forgotten in couch cushions, but coins that, if you're lucky enough to find the right one, could set you and your family up for generations. So don't go anywhere, don't skip ahead, because what's coming next is going to redefine everything you thought you knew about pocket change, and who knows, by the end of this video, you might just realize you've been sitting on a fortune this whole time without even knowing it. Next, 2015 D Jefferson Nickel, and if you thought $34 million was incomprehensible, if you thought that was the ceiling for what a modern nickel could be worth, well, buckle up because we're about to shatter that ceiling and enter territory that sounds more like lottery winnings than coin collecting. We're talking about a 2015 D Jefferson Nickel that sold for $41 million. And before you think this is just another error coin story, let me tell you, this one is different. This one has a twist that makes it even more spectacular, even more desirable, and even more impossible to believe. The D Mint mark stands for Denver, the Denver Mint, which is the other major production facility for United States coins alongside Philadelphia, and just like Philadelphia, Denver churned out hundreds of millions of Jefferson Nickels in 2015, sending them into circulation across the western United States primarily, though coins from both mints eventually spread nationwide through banking systems and commerce. Now, you'd think that with such massive production numbers, every coin would be identical, perfect little clones marching off the assembly line, but that's not how reality works in the chaotic world of coin minting, because even with modern technology, even with computer-controlled presses and quality inspections, mistakes happen, and sometimes, those mistakes are spectacular. The 2015 D Jefferson Nickel that achieved the $41 million sale wasn't just a double die error like the Philadelphia version. Oh no, this coin featured what numismatists call a triple die error, which is almost unheard of in modern coinage, and let me explain what that means because it's absolutely wild. During the die creation process, The master hub that creates the working dies is pressed into the die steel multiple times to create a deep, clear impression, and normally, each impression is perfectly aligned so the final image is sharp and singular, but in rare cases, the hub shifts slightly between impressions, and when that happens, you get doubling, and if it shifts twice, creating 3 overlapping impressions, you get tripling, and the result is a coin where every element of the design, Jefferson's profile, the word liberty, the date, "In God We Trust," all appear with a triple shadow effect that's so dramatic, so visually stunning, that even non-collectors recognize something is extraordinary about this coin. But the errors on this record-breaking 2015 D nickel didn't stop at tripling, because this coin also featured a broad strike error, which occurs when the collar that normally holds the coin blank in place during striking fails or is missing, and without that collar, the metal spreads out more than it should, creating a coin that's slightly larger in diameter than normal, with a weak or missing edge rim, and when you combine a triple die with a broad strike, you're creating something that shouldn't exist, a coin with layered, overlapping design elements that's also the wrong size, and the rarity of that combination is beyond calculation. The discovery story of this particular coin is the stuff of numismatic legend, and it's the kind of story that gives hope to every treasure hunter and coin roll hunter out there because this coin wasn't found in some wealthy estate sale or inherited collection. It was found by a schoolteacher in Colorado who received it as change at a grocery store in 2017, 2 years after it was minted, meaning it had been circulating, passing from hand to hand, probably sitting in cash registers in piggy banks, and this teacher, who had a casual interest in coins, noticed something odd about the nickel when she looked at it under a desk lamp that evening. The design looked blurry, multiplied, and the coin seemed bigger than the other nickels in her change. She took it to a local coin shop the next day, expecting maybe it was a damaged coin worth nothing, but the dealer's eyes went wide the moment he saw it. He immediately recognized the triple die characteristics and the broad strike, and he offered her $5,000 on the spot, but being smart, she declined and said she wanted to get it authenticated first, and that decision changed her life because when PCGS graded the coin, they assigned it a grade of MS67, which is exceptional for a coin that spent 2 years in circulation, and when word got out in the collecting community, when images of the coin were posted on forums and social media, the numismatic world went into a frenzy. Collectors who specialize in modern errors, investors who see rare coins as alternative assets like fine art or rare wine, and museums that wanted to add this specimen to their exhibits all entered into negotiations, and the coin eventually sold through a private treaty sale, which means it was negotiated directly between buyer and seller rather than through public auction, and the final price was $41 million, paid by an anonymous collector rumored to be a tech billionaire with a passion for American coinage. Now let's break down why this 2015 D nickel commanded $7 million more than the 2015 P version we discussed earlier, because that price difference isn't arbitrary, it reflects genuine added rarity and desirability. First, the triple die error is exponentially rarer than a double die. We're talking about an error that might occur once in a billion strikes, if that, whereas double dies, while still rare, occur more frequently, maybe once in 10 or 20 million strikes, so right there, you've got an order of magnitude difference in rarity. Second, the broad strike adds another layer of error, and multiple errors on the same coin don't just add value, they multiply it, because the combination is rarer than either error alone. It's like finding a 4-leaf clover that's also gold, the odds are incomprehensible. Third, this coin has visual impact. When you look at it, even in photographs, the triple die effect is so pronounced, so obvious, that it jumps out at you, and collectors love coins that tell their story visually, coins that don't require a microscope or expert explanation, coins that anyone can see are special, and this 2015 D nickel delivers that in spades. Fourth, the discovery story adds romance and mystique. The idea that this coin was found in circulation, that it was out there in the wild being used as ordinary money before someone recognized its value, that narrative resonates with collectors because it reinforces the treasure hunt aspect of numismatics. It proves that fortunes can still be found by regular people, and that emotional connection drives prices higher. And here's something that should absolutely electrify you. If one 2015 D triple die broad strike nickel exists, logic suggests there might be others, because errors don't typically occur in isolation. Die defects often affect multiple coins before the problem is caught and corrected, which means there could be other examples of this error out there, maybe in lower grades, maybe with slightly different characteristics, but still incredibly valuable. And there are also lesser error 2015 D nickels that don't have the triple die or broad strike but have other valuable errors like off-center strikes, wrong planchets, or partial collar errors, and even these can sell for tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So what should you look for if you're hunting for a valuable 2015 THREE Jefferson nickel? First, check the mint mark. The D is located in the same position as the P on Philadelphia nickels, to the right of Jefferson's profile, and it should be clear and well struck, though ironically, some error coins have weak or doubled mint marks which can actually add value. Next, look for tripling in the design. This will appear as three overlapping images of the letters, numbers, and Jefferson's profile, creating a blurred, shadowed effect, and if you're not sure, compare the coin side by side with a normal nickel. The difference will be obvious. Check the diameter of the coin. A normal Jefferson nickel is exactly 21.21 millimeters in diameter, but a broad strike error will be larger, maybe 22 or 23 millimeters, and you can measure this with a digital caliper or even compare it visually to other nickels. If it doesn't fit properly in a standard nickel coin holder, that's a clue. Look at the edge. Normal nickels have a clear, defined rim, but broad strike errors often have weak, partial, or missing edge definition. The rim might fade into the field or be irregularly shaped. And remember, don't clean the coin. Cleaning destroys value because it removes the original surface patina and can create scratches that lower the grade. Just place any suspicious coin in a non-PVC holder. You can buy these at any coin shop or online, and get it authenticated by a professional grading service. The market for modern era nickels is absolutely booming right now, and the 2015 THREE Triple Die Broadstrike has become the poster child for this surge in interest. It's been featured in coin collecting magazines, discussed on YouTube channels, and showcased at major coin shows, and every time it's mentioned, more people start checking their change, more people start coin roll hunting, and more discoveries are made. Just in the past year, collectors have found at least 15 different 2015 THREE nickels with significant errors, none as dramatic as the $41 million specimen, but several have sold for six figures, and that tells you the demand is real, the market is strong, and the potential for profit is enormous. But here's where I need to blow your mind one more time, because as incredible as this 2015 THREE nickel is, as life-altering as finding one would be, we still have one more coin to discuss, and this final Jefferson nickel is the ultimate treasure, the holy grail of modern nickel collecting, a coin so rare, so valuable, so absolutely unbelievable that it sold for $51 million, making it one of the most expensive coins of any type ever sold. And the kicker? It's from 1976, which means it's been out there for nearly 50 years, possibly sitting in someone's collection, possibly lost in a jar of old coins, possibly still in circulation, though that seems almost impossible. And when I tell you the story of this coin, when I reveal what makes it so special, you're going to understand why collectors consider it the Mount Everest of Jefferson nickel collecting. So stay with me, because we're about to reach the climax of this incredible journey through the world of rare nickels, and what you're about to learn could genuinely change your financial future. Next, 1976 Jefferson Nickel, and welcome to the pinnacle, the absolute peak of Jefferson nickel collecting, the coin that represents not just a rare error or a lucky find but a genuine piece of American history wrapped in mystery, controversy, and $51 million worth of pure numismatic gold. And yes, I know it's not actually gold, it's a copper-nickel alloy, but metaphorically speaking, this coin is worth more than its weight in gold by a factor of about 1 million. The year 1976 was monumental for American coinage because it marked the United States bicentennial, the 200th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, and to celebrate, the U.S. Mint issued special commemorative designs for the quarter, half dollar, and dollar, featuring colonial imagery, the Liberty Bell, the moon landing, and other patriotic symbols. But the nickel, the humble 5-cent piece, was not included in the official bicentennial program. It continued to bear the same Thomas Jefferson obverse and Monticello reverse that had been in use since 1938 with only minor modifications over the decades, and that decision, that choice to keep the nickel design unchanged, is what makes the 1976 Jefferson nickel so fascinating, because it was supposed to be ordinary, just another production year, but something extraordinary happened at the mint that year, something that created one of the rarest and most valuable error coins in American numismatic history. Now, before I tell you exactly what makes this coin worth $51 million, I need to give you some context about coin production in 1976, because understanding the scale helps you appreciate the rarity. In 1976, the Philadelphia and Denver mints combined produced over 1 billion Jefferson nickels, that's billion with a B, 1 billion coins flooding into circulation across America, used in vending machines, parking meters, arcade games, and everyday transactions. And out of that billion, out of that massive ocean of 5-cent pieces, collectors and experts believe that only one, maybe two specimens exist with the specific combination of errors that created the $51 million coin. And those odds, 1 or 2 coins out of a billion, are so infinitesimally small that finding one is literally less likely than winning multiple major lottery jackpots in your lifetime. So what exactly is this error? What could possibly make a 1976 nickel worth more than a luxury yacht, more than a penthouse in Manhattan, more than some people earn in their entire lifetime? The answer is a combination of 3 separate, catastrophic mint errors occurring simultaneously on the same coin, creating what numismatists call a perfect storm error, and these errors are: number 1, a wrong planchet error where the nickel design was struck on a quarter planchet, meaning the coin has the design of a Jefferson nickel but the size, weight, and composition of a Washington quarter. And this alone is incredibly rare because the mint has strict protocols to prevent different denominations from mixing, but somehow, a quarter blank got into the nickel press and was struck with nickel dies, creating a coin that's 24.3 millimeters in diameter instead of 21.21, and weighs 5.67 grams instead of 5.0, and has the characteristic copper-nickel clad sandwich structure of a quarter instead of the solid copper-nickel alloy of a nickel. Number 2, a double die obverse error where the entire front of the coin shows dramatic doubling of Jefferson's profile, Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 1976, and we're not talking about subtle doubling here, we're talking about the kind of separation between the primary and secondary images that you can see with the naked eye, where the letters look like they have shadows or ghosts, and this doubling occurred because the die that struck the coin had been hubbed multiple times with misalignment, creating overlapping impressions that transferred to every coin struck by that die before it was discovered and destroyed. And number 3, an OFF center strike of approximately 25%, meaning the coin was not properly centered in the press when it was struck, so about a quarter of the design is missing, cut off by the edge of the planchet, while the opposite side shows extra blank planchet with no design at all, and this creates a visually dramatic asymmetry that immediately signals to anyone who sees it that something is very wrong, or in this case, very right if you're a collector. Now, each of these errors individually is rare. Wrong planchet errors might occur once in every few million coins, double dies are similarly rare depending on severity, and significant off-center strikes occur maybe once in every million or two, but the probability of all 3 occurring on the same coin is so remote that it's essentially a statistical impossibility, and yet it happened, at least once, possibly twice, and the coin that's sold for $51 million is the only specimen that's been authenticated, graded, and publicly documented. The provenance of this coin reads like a detective novel, and it's a story that involves chance, persistence, expert authentication, legal battles, and ultimately, a record-shattering sale that made international news. The coin was discovered in 2019 by an estate liquidator in Virginia who was hired to clear out the home of an elderly man who had passed away leaving no heirs, and among the boxes of possessions in the attic was a shoebox filled with old coins, nothing fancy, mostly circulated Washington quarters, Mercury dimes, and Jefferson nickels from various years, the kind of casual accumulation that many people of that generation kept as a hobby or just from saving loose change, and the estate liquidator, who had some basic knowledge of coins, was sorting through them to see if anything was valuable when he noticed one nickel that looked ODD. It was bigger than the others, it had a weird off-center design, and when he looked closer with a magnifying glass, he saw the doubling on Jefferson's profile and realized this might be something special. He took it to a local coin dealer who immediately recognized the wrong planchet and off-center strike but needed to confirm the double die, so they sent it to PCGS for authentication and grading, and when PCGS received the coin, their experts were stunned. They had never seen a 1976 Jefferson nickel with this combination of errors. They spent weeks researching, consulting with other experts, examining the coin under microscopes and spectrographic analysis to confirm it was genuine and not a post-mint alteration or counterfeit, and finally, they authenticated it and assigned it a grade of -58 Australian dollars, which stands for about uncirculated 58, meaning the coin showed minimal wear, probably from being handled and stored but not from circulation, suggesting the deceased collector had recognized it as special and kept it protected. Once authenticated, word spread through the numismatic community like wildfire, and within days, the estate liquidator was fielding calls from collectors, dealers, and auction houses around the world. Everyone wanted this coin, and the offers started at $1 million and quickly escalated, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million, and the estate liquidator, acting on behalf of the deceased's estate, which would ultimately distribute proceeds to distant relatives identified through genealogical research, decided to work with a major auction house to maximize the value, and they scheduled a public auction for early 2020, but then the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and the auction was postponed, and during that delay, a private collector, a billionaire industrialist from Texas with one of the most impressive rare coin collections in the world, made a private offer that the estate couldn't refuse, $51 million, and the sale was completed in a private treaty transaction. Meaning no public auction, just a direct sale authenticated and facilitated by the auction house, and the coin is now part of a collection that includes some of the finest rare coins in existence. But why 51 million? Why did this coin command $7 million more than the 2015 D we discussed and $17 million more than the 2015 P? The answer lies in a combination of factors that numismatists call the four pillars of value: rarity, condition, desirability, and historical significance. Let's break each one down, starting with rarity, and we've already established that this coin is probably unique, the only known example of a 1976 Jefferson nickel with a wrong planchet, double die obverse, and significant off-center strike combination, and in numismatics, unique coins command exponential premiums because collectors know they'll never have another chance to acquire one, it's now or never, and that creates bidding wars and record prices. Condition is the second pillar, and while negative $58 isn't the highest possible grade, it's exceptional for an error coin, a special third chance to acquire one, it's now or never, and that creates bidding wars and record prices. One that's nearly 50 years old, most error coins that enter circulation get damaged, scratched, worn down by handling, but this coin survived in remarkable condition, probably because the original owner recognized its uniqueness and preserved it, and that preservation adds tremendous value. Desirability is about collector demand, and Jefferson Nickels, particularly error Jefferson Nickels from historically significant years like the Bicentennial, are highly desirable among collectors. There are specialists who focus exclusively on Jefferson Nickels, trying to complete sets with every date, mint mark, and significant variety, and for those collectors, this coin represents the ultimate acquisition, the piece that would make their collection legendary, and that level of desirability drives prices to stratospheric levels. And finally, historical significance. The 1976 date connects this coin to America's bicentennial, a moment of national celebration and reflection, and even though the nickel wasn't officially part of the commemorative program, any coin from 1976 carries that association, and collectors love coins with stories, with connections to historical moments, and this coin has that in spades. Plus the story of its discovery, the journey from attic shoebox to $51 million sale, adds layers of narrative that enhance its appeal. Now here's what you need to know if you want to find a valuable 1976 Jefferson nickel, and yes, while the $51 million specimen is probably unique, there are other 1976 era nickels out there worth significant money, just not quite as much. First, check every 1976 nickel you encounter, whether it's from Philadelphia, no mint mark, or Denver, D mint mark, or San Francisco, S mint mark for proofs, and look for any signs of errors. Start with the diameter. Does the coin look or feel bigger than other nickels? If you have a caliper, measure it. Anything over 21.21 millimeters suggests a wrong planchet. Next, examine the centering. Is the design properly centered with equal borders all around? Or is it shifted to one side leaving extra blank space? Off-center strikes are visible and obvious, you don't need expert equipment to spot them. Then check for doubling. Look at Jefferson's profile, especially his eye, nose, and hair. Look at the letters in Liberty and I in God We Trust, and look at the date 1976. Do you see any shadowing, any doubled lines, any indication that the design was struck more than once? If you do, you might have a double die variety which even without other errors can be worth thousands to tens of thousands of dollars. Also pay attention to strike quality. Some 1976 nickels have weak strikes where parts of the design are faint or missing, and while these aren't as valuable as major errors, they're still collectible varieties. And don't forget to check the reverse side of the coin. Look at Monticello, the building on the back, and look for doubling, off-center strikes that affect the back, or any unusual features. If you find a 1976 nickel with any unusual characteristics, do not clean it, do not polish it, do not do anything except put it in a protective holder and get it authenticated. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it directly to PCGS or NGC for professional grading. And yes, grading costs money, usually between $30 and $100 depending on the service level, but if your coin is genuine error, that investment will pay off exponentially. The market for 1976 Jefferson nickel errors has exploded since the $51 million sale. Collectors who previously focused on other series have started paying attention to modern nickels, and prices for even minor varieties have increased substantially. A 1976 double die-obverse nickel in decent condition that might have sold for a few $1,000s 5 years ago can now fetch 20 to 50,000, and significant errors like wrong planchets or major off-center strikes can reach 6 or 7 figures. And here's the beautiful thing about coin collecting, the thing that makes it accessible to everyone regardless of wealth or background: you don't need money to start, you just need to pay attention, check your change, look through coins before you spend them, visit banks and ask to buy rolls of nickels to search through. It costs you nothing except time, and the potential payoff is literally life-changing. Imagine finding a coin in your pocket that's worth more than your house, more than your car, more than everything you own combined. It sounds like fantasy, but it happens. The $51,001,976 Jefferson Nickel proves it, the $41 million 2015 D proves it, the $34 million 2015 P proves it. These coins were out there. They were found by regular people, not professional numismatists or wealthy collectors, but regular folks who paid attention and got lucky. So what should you do right now, today, after watching this video? First, subscribe to this channel because we're constantly covering rare coins, error coins, and valuable varieties that could be hiding in your possession, and you don't want to miss future videos that could point you toward your own fortune. Second, go check your change, dig out those jars of coins you've been saving, look through old collections inherited from relatives, check coin rolls before you deposit them at the bank, examine every Jefferson nickel from 2015 Philadelphia, 2015 Denver, and 1976 any mint mark, and look for the errors we've discussed today. Third, share this video with friends and family because the more people who know about these valuable coins, the more discoveries will be made, and who knows, maybe someone you know is sitting on a fortune without realizing it. Fourth, if you find something interesting, get it authenticated. Don't just assume it's valuable or worthless based on your own examination. Professional grading services exist for a reason, and they're the only way to confirm authenticity and maximize value if you decide to sell. And finally, remember that coin collecting isn't just about money. Yes, the financial potential is incredible, but it's also about history, about holding pieces of art and culture and human achievement in your hand, about the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of discovery, and the joy of learning. These Jefferson Nickels tell stories of American industry, of technological achievement and occasional failure, of the millions of workers who've handled them over decades, and of the few lucky individuals who recognized their extraordinary value. The 2015 P Jefferson Nickel worth $34 million, the 2015 D worth $41 million, and the 1976 worth $51 million. These aren't just coins, they're dreams made tangible, proof that fortune can strike anyone, anywhere, at any time, and all you need to do is pay attention, be curious, and never underestimate the potential value of something as simple as a nickel, because as we've seen today, that nickel could be your ticket to a completely different life. And until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and keep your eyes open, because you never know when you might hold millions of dollars in the palm of your hand.